You hire your photographer and your videographer, you have to make sure they play nice together. If they don't,
Yes.
you'll
Besties.
regret it. You'll so regret it. I was talking
100%.
with a couple last night. They're getting married in Colorado, and the photographers recommended me. And one of the reasons they recommended me was that these photographers have a really unique shooting style. I'm very adaptive, and they said hire. They said do not hire a videographer that will ruin your photos. And I was like, that's a good point. And so they're like, reach out to
Yeah.
Watertown
Yeah.
Films. He can work with us. And it's like perfect. And that
Yeah.
makes complete sense because if me and Deyla were working together, which I'm 99% positive you and I have never worked at wedding. And she's like, no, you totally have.
I
And I'm
am
like,
positive
prove
we
it.
have. So we're gonna
You
look
have
this
to
up.
prove it. Otherwise, it was like we shoot at all the same venues. Like you kind of like, I
I
like the
know.
couples that you
I
get
feel
and
like
vice
we've known
versa.
each other too long that we haven't. Like it's so weird. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
anyway.
weird. It's like I've been in this for 12 years and I don't think we should have wedding together. So, anyways, Deyla and I were just talking post the recording. I was like, we got to start recording again. Talk to me about how paramount it is that a couple hires a photographer and a videographer, even if they haven't worked together. They just have to have the mindset that they're on a team. And if they don't have that
100%.
mindset, a lot of stuff goes
Yeah.
south.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's time. It's you got to work as a team. You got to find that gelling kind of relationship with your videographer, with the whole wedding team, but really video and photo. It's, we're neck and neck. We're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
We're wanting
It's a
mostly
dance.
the same kind of footage. It is. It's a dance. And so whether, what I like to do going in with the videographers that I work with, is I know they need to get their stuff too. Like
Yeah.
the client has hired us both. They haven't, I'm not the boss. It's not me. It's not my show. It's both of ours. So working as a team is so important and making sure you have your footage. I have my footage, we're bouncing back. Hey, do you need 5 minutes or whatever to get what out of this, particular series or whatever? Even like the details, like shooting the details and stuff like that. That's, a videographer might want footage of that. So don't just set it up really quick and then, take it down and stuff like that. And so I like to also communicate like, hey, I'm gonna, go take the dress out. Do you want to come with me? Kind of thing, and making sure that they're not missing stuff. Like when the bride's getting dressed, usually the videographer, if male, is stepping out for a second. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And then you got to holler at me.
So, and then so I'm like, hey, I just want to make sure you're not going to miss out. I'm coming out. I'm like, all right, you can come in. Just working relationship is so important on both sides. There's not one that's better than the other or most important than the other. So, yeah.
Your best bet, usually photographer gets hired before videographer. Your best bet is just ask the photographer, hey, who do you like working with? Who makes good work?
Yeah.
And usually I think is that photographer will recommend somebody who makes good work and is a great team player because it just doesn't, I could go on and on about this stuff.
Oh, I can too. I only recommend videographers, cinematographers that I would work with, that I would want to work with, that I know does good work and is also a good team player. So
if you're hiring somebody that hasn't
100%.
worked, which it does happen, couples will ask me when I talk to them, hey, have you worked with this photographer? And I say no if I haven't. And then I put them at ease and I just say, hey, it's like, because I was just talking with a couple. They're like, well, how do you handle the ceremony? It's like the way I handle the ceremony. If I haven't worked with that photographer, one, I've already messaged them, befriended them, being like, hey, excited to team up with you on the wedding day.
Yeah.
But then I talk to them like the big thing is like before ceremony or first look. But I just say, hey, how do you like to shoot this? Tell me everything as if I wasn't here, and then I will adapt.
Yeah.
And so part of that is like ceremony. Her and I were just talking about these horror stories where certain videographers just set their gear up in the way. Maybe they set a tripod in the middle of the aisle. And my thing is very much I do set a tripod up in the back, but I do it right off axis on the left side so that it's more highlighting the groom's face. And then I have another one on the right, which is highlighting the bride's face. And then I roam with the camera. So I have 3 cameras, 2 are on tripods. But then right when that's happening too, I will make eye contact with the photographer, or I'll figure it out. I'll say, hey, if you want to get a wide shot, let me know. And I will wait on setting my tripod up. I will back up. And usually nothing is important happening.
I love
the
that.
officiant saying like, turn off your cell phones or whatever it is, but it's great for a wide photo.
Yeah.
So I'll go back and I'll just sit there and hold my tripod,
Yeah.
look at the photographer. Oh, you got the shot? Perfect. Thumbs up. Cool. I'll set up.
Right. Because it takes 2 seconds to get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
So
then
you're not going to be missing
I'm
anything.
helping out the couple
Totally.
who, like, ultimately, is it inconvenience to me? No, but like, is the couple winning even though I'm not providing anything? The value I'm providing is making it so you get the better shot, which ultimately brings value to the couple.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, again, it's just I could go on and on about just, the things. And so for instance, I'm working with a lovely videographer who she does a lot of, it's funny, she probably shoots all the time in like Wyoming and things
Mhm.
like that. Like she loves those kind of country, she was around horses and stuff like that. So she's hired because she knows the bride this weekend, but she doesn't do those type of weddings usually. So the more black tie kind of, beautiful kind of backyard wedding
Mhm.
kind of situation or whatever. But so I had a video chat with her just so we could kind of just, I wanted to get to know her. I want to know who I'm working
Yeah.
with, you know what I mean? And turned out fine, like we're on the same page. Like but she has the way she works, I have the way I work, and then we just kind of mesh that together, because we're completely different
Yeah.
styles, and it just so crossing my fingers it works out. But, from our conversation, just kind of having that conversation prior though makes me feel way more comfortable going into the wedding day than it would if I was like not even be in touch with any of the
Yeah.
vendors, prior. So
Yeah. If you're hiring somebody who
yeah.
they haven't worked together, say you
Hmm.
hired Deyla and you're like, hey, let's reach out to Watertown Films. Obviously,
Right.
her and I haven't worked together. But let's just say we're not even new to this podcast. I don't even know who she is. You'll want to ask me questions, couple, and ask like, "Hey, how
Right.
do you work with the
Hmm.
photographer?" And just see what they say. If they say things
Right.
like, "Oh, I do whatever it takes to get the shot," or,
Hmm.
you know, I can't even think about it.
Yeah.
Like, if they're not saying things like, "It's a team, it's a dance, I'm accommodating, it's a give and take." Like,
Yeah.
if they're not saying stuff like that, you could. Maybe they make great work, and maybe the photographer makes great work, but it's going to be challenging for them to do it together at the
Yeah.
same time. So,
Totally. Yeah.
something to think about.
No, I know it's something I could go on and on about team relationships for the wedding day. It makes the wedding days go so
Yeah.
much smoother and so much nicer when you've got everybody that's working well
Yeah.
together.
So
So
there, take it from us. Save yourself the heartache and the trouble. Book people who work well with other people,
hire us both.
and see what happens. All right,
Let's
I'm
see
going to
what
stop
happens.
recording right there. Thank you, Jen.